because part of it's like knowing like your body and your health and like being attuned to like what is happening on all different levels of your health. Like your mental health is connected to your health and your nervous system is impacted by many different factors.
Well,
That's
thank you for that correlation because I think both myself and maybe just me were like, what?
and that's our topic with Eidit. So that's why I'm like, for me, it all tied together.
I'm catching it now, but I didn't catch it right when so I was very confused.
Nervous system.
But everything always ties back to the nervous system somehow, some way.
Which is interesting because we actually did an interview right before this and
Y'all back to
backs.
Just like
And we didn't talk about nervous system, but
well, she did. She mentioned it as one of the buzzwords.
yes, that's why I'm saying this right now in this moment. Is she was saying that she sees a trend of people coming in and being like nervous system, narcissism, and nervous system definitely like even when I say those buzzwords, I sometimes feel weird saying them because I know everyone else is saying them. Like when I used to say them, and I would feel like it felt different to say them, and so I could like hear what she was saying, and so this is not like a scripted question, but I'm curious as someone who's focusing on the nervous system, how does it being like super trendy like come in or not into like the sessions or the room or just when you think about it?
I mean, I feel like everything is always marketed and capitalized because that's the world we live in. So everything is always eventually going to get trendy and buzz. Like narcissism now is like a whole thing. And like you hear that a lot. So nervous system is just like another one. And the capitalist market is going to do what it's going to do. It's going to like try to produce all these different ways to target people. And I don't think it's an or a but. I think it's an and anytime for me as like someone who very much cares about mental health and well-being, I know that's an important thing to talk about and have awareness around. And like how cool that we do live in a society that can create access for better or worse on information that at one point was like not accessible as it is now. And then you have to do your own critical thinking from that point. Like, is this person just trying to sell me? Like, just to sell me? Like, where are you spending your money to receive support around your nervous system or free information at that too? Because that's available as well. So it's then up to you as the individual to know that it's a trendy, buzzy like word going around, and it caught on because it is important, something that like a lot of people are starting to want to know about. And then from there, you decide like quality versus quantity. Like I think, yeah, I'm excited. I like when more information is out there, and then being a credible person to come in and talk about it. I want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
for those
amazing.
of us who may not know what the nervous system is, for some of our listeners who may have never heard this buzzword before, or who may have only heard it in context of some jargon that they heard someone spill out on the internet, what would be the facts that you want people to know about the nervous system and things that you think are important information for our clients or people who are listening in who may want more information about this because they may not know the definition?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the elevator pitch is like everyone has a nervous system. It's something that's inside of our body. It's connected to all parts of our organs, brain, our heart, like everything is connected to the nervous system, and it is like an information sharing as our body's so like amazing in the way that it communicates how to move throughout your day. And the nervous system is one operating system that is always present. And when it is activated and flooded, it has a potential to respond in multiple ways. And the ones that we typically talk about with our clients and even with ourselves is to notice when you're in either fight, freeze, um,
Like,
freeze, and flee responses are the typical three that we talk about. And so if we think about, and it's primal, it's something that humans need as part of survival, because as like evolution, as we know, like we had to fight off bears. And in today's world, like there's a lot of different bears. And so your nervous system is actively working to keep you to survive the threats. You know, a bear isn't necessarily going to be, you know, in your day to day, but reading the headline of a news is. And depending on who you are and how closely you're tied to that headline and the impact of it on you, your nervous system can perceive that as a threat to your survival. And so it can activate into a possible like fight. So you get angry, you might want to like respond and you elevate, your heart elevates. Like there's so many different response systems that could activate, or you might retreat and shut down and avoid, dissociate, because that bear feeling or that news headline, it puts you in a freeze response. And now you're like frozen, you're shut down, or you want to run away, hide. It's all based around survival. And so in a nutshell, your nervous system is there to protect you, and you want to notice if you're in any one of those three states so that you can bring it back to like a baseline and like survive, but also thrive. And noticing those.
Yeah. To your point of kind of reframing it in its newfound popularity and how it can be good for actually the greater community, I can see when, as you were talking, I was thinking about that book. I think it's called What Happened to You. Was it called What Happened to You? By Oprah and this other doctor, right? Who I should know. I'll look that up.
I'll look at it while we're talking.
Right. It's kind of like those that, even if you're not actively in being affected by like headlines and bears right now, those
Dr.
have
Perry.
Dr. Who? Perry?
Dr. Bruce Perry. I thought it was him. And I have the copy of my book I have a copy of the book in the other room. But I knew it was going to take too much time to go in there.
Good call. Google. But just, I was like, this connection was happening as you were talking about how people show up in those states who've had previous trauma. And so, and that means that like things have happened to them, right? The book. But all the more reason if you understand it and are like buying into like this education that's more accessible to everybody, that maybe it could be helpful in how we treat other people too. Like if we know that like, oh, this is maybe a nervous system reaction, and then there's somehow more awareness around, you know, how you respond to people because of that. I don't know, my brain went there as you were talking about, this is this universal experience that we're all kind of like navigating through, and more people know it. So that's a random thought that's coming out of my out for me right now.
Yeah, and like that trigger. I mean, we all have triggers and different things like that's connected to your nervous system. So I always say, you probably may have heard the phrase of like your triggers are your teachers. So whenever you are triggered, no matter how long you know you've just been in the world, like something is going to activate your nervous system. You're going to get triggered, and what is triggering is that fight or flight response or freeze response. And so being aware of your own and others, especially in like relationships and like friendships, intimate relationships, like noticing each other's what triggers and activate that fight or flight freeze response, why, what happened in the past is always connected. If we haven't brought it to awareness, like it's going to show up as a trigger. Even if you have awareness, it could still show up as a trigger, and that's okay. I think that's like you're saying, like the more we can understand each other, and see that we all have a nervous system and we all can get triggered, and it's from there a deepening and an understanding, like how do I support you when you are that way? Like what if your nervous system does get activated and you're in a fight freeze response? Like what do you need? And you doing the work to get to know what you need to in that moment, and doing the best you can. And sometimes it works really well, and and sometimes you don't. And we can talk about that some more, but yeah.
It sounds like another form of like self-awareness for regulation, right? Of just like kind of like being able to create a sense of what you need as your own self. That so often, I think that one of the things about the buzzwords that people often use is that they're using it to describe other people and never themselves. I say that out loud. Like that some of it is that like, oh, it's this person, this is what's wrong with them, this is what's wrong with them. It's like, but what about your own, like, what about your own nervous system? Like, what about you? Because you can't control what they're going to do. what's your role for you here, right? What is that? Am I missing the mark, or am I in the vicinity? Am I in the area?
I think that's a lot of times what we're doing as therapists too, is we're helping people look within. Because a lot of times maybe people, not always, of course, but people sometimes you could, something about blaming, right? Pointing the finger helps us. That's a coping strategy. So it's like, how can we use that information about our own triggers, activations, the teachers you're talking about, to do more of that? So we're learning about ourselves and not necessarily trying to figure out others.
That's information. Yeah, it's like your body is constantly giving you information about how you're doing in the moment and what
Can you
you
maybe
need.
tell us some like signs and symptoms that our nervous system may be in a space of dysregulation that we may not know? What should people be looking for, Eddie? Because I don't know if they know what that may look like.
Yeah, on like an every day-to-day basis, like it's basically having a response that's out of proportion to maybe the situation. Let's say you're, making your breakfast and the coffee spills and you just have a huge reaction to that out of more than like, you've been like, oh shit, my coffee spilled. Let me clean it up. But then you get so upset, maybe you start crying or maybe you start cussing and cussing everybody out around you. Like, don't fucking talk to me. I just spilled my coffee. Like, fuck you. You don't understand what my day is like. And like, you just go off. Like, that would be a subtle sign that there's something more than just like, yeah, spilling your coffee fucking is like, sorry, can I cuss? I think, yeah, that's a
I've
thing.
cried over spilled coffee before, so yeah, but I hear
Okay.
you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much? Kidding, just kidding.
And putting it into context, like what else happened? Like it's just information. Like it's a good moment. You probably not right then and there because you're so activated, you don't even know. But maybe once you come down, thinking of it like it's a climax, like you hit a peak, your nervous system was like activated by a trigger, and it's connected to something. Maybe you're flooded with like emotions from other things that are going on. Maybe you're anxious about the day and what is going to happen, and you have a meeting, you have a presentation, maybe you're in some like legal situation, maybe there's just like other things you're anxious about. You are worried about finances. I don't know. There's like a million things nowadays that people have every right to feel like stressed and worried about. And so you can notice in those subtle moments, someone cut you off in traffic. Now you're following them and you're like, motherfucker, I'm going to come beat your ass. Like that's your nervous system ready to fight. Or you get like feedback at work about something that you did. And then you take it so hard, like you shut down, and that could be an activating, like you call out the next day. Maybe you go to the bathroom and you just sob. And it affects you longer than you'd like. It's like a distressing feeling, like almost out of control. Like you're either fighting back, you're so angry, and like something has like robbed me in this moment. And I am now like in this like out of control feeling in my body, whether I'm like angry beyond a feeling that like angry beyond a point where it's distressing to me and maybe others. Then when I come down from that, I can look back and be like, why did I act that way? And instead of going into shame and like being mad at yourself, that's a good moment to like check in, like, well, what is going on? Like what happened? Like kind of to Lynnea's point with that book, like what happened to me? What is it activating? What information is it trying to give me about what is going on in my life right now? And what do I need
Yeah.
to help soothe that? Because this isn't like who I, like know myself to be. And right now my nervous system is just activated beyond a point where it's distressing one way or another, fight, flee, freeze response that I don't want to live this way, but something is happening where it's causing me to have this reaction.
Yeah. I think that I appreciate that almost a strategy of post care, activation, post trigger care, because I bet for every person that can in the moment be like, this is an overreaction, there's just as many people who maybe won't in that moment, no, but afterwards, when you look back, you're most likely to have a different perspective because you're a little bit more grounded. Hopefully, you've had some time to have your body, whether you regulated it or got regulated, to then identify that as something that was an overreaction. Because I imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong here, but that if someone is in a emotional dysregulated state, that it might be hard to even pinpoint that they should. Our goal as therapists is to get them in the moment, closer to that moment to do that. But that maybe in the beginning, if you're noticing, oh, I'm fight, flight, or freeze, those things happen to me, that it's a skill to be able to get closer to that moment and figure out and listen to the teacher. And that maybe in the beginning, it won't be until much later that you can look back on it versus change in the minute, in the moment.
Yeah, like an example, like just to kind of ground in like an example I have when I lost my sister and she passed away from cancer at a very young age. I was angry for a long time about it, and I didn't like, even being a therapist and knowing about this, like it could happen to anyone. So it's not just like, oh, it can't happen to me. It's like, even if you feel like you know yourself well, you're like maybe even in the field. Like I was like juicing that day one morning and the carrots weren't like going in correctly. And like, I just got so angry. Like I like had a whole overreaction about the juicer and the carrot, and then like threw everything in the sink, like, fuck it, I don't even want this damn juice anymore. Like so upset, so angry. But I'm not angry at the carrot and the juice. And my husband was around and he's like, he kind of knew, like, okay, he's been through loss, so he kind of got it. Fortunately, like he gave me grace. And then coming down after that, like there's like a come down moment because a lot of adrenaline is activated in that like response when your nervous system's activated. And like we talked about it and it was like, so it's not really about the carrot and the juice. Like you're angry, your sister passed away. And it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what do I need to do? Because that's going to keep coming out.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, again, it's a teaching moment. Our triggers are our teachers. You might not even know you're activated, your nervous system's activated until something happens. And then your reaction is out of proportion to the situation. And then you from there can like be a signal to like, oh, I need to go investigate this some more. Maybe talk to someone, journal, figure it out, because it's going to keep coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting because anger is one of the important parts that we need to keep as the process of grief, right? When we think about the 5 stages of grief, we know that anger is one of the key pieces to it. And I think that oftentimes people think of grief as in the terms of like death, but like grief can come in so many different arenas where this type of response may also show up. And I think that it's one of the things that we're hoping to kind of like not so much like dispel the myths, but to normalize it, to encourage people to say, this may be your indicator when you know that you may need a little bit more help. Because the anger is a natural feeling, because it's literally like in one of the theoretical principles of how to process something that is as tragic as grief. And grief happens oftentimes, as we can see it as therapists in our practices, from people grieving the loss of relationships, whether it is a romantic relationship or a friendship or a potential child that may not have come, or the desire for a family, or, not finding the partnership, that breakup that didn't quite work out, the poor relationship with your parents, or whatever it could be that is, or the relationship with not being able to finish something that you wanted to do in your head. The thought of whatever it is that you wanted, maybe not getting it, can also yield grief, right? And I think that that's one of the things that then we can see how sometimes that may have a dysregulated system. One of the things that we saw in sports this past week is that one of the football players really had an incident with a dysregulated nervous system. I don't know what happened. Don't know the player. Drove his car into a woman's car at the police station. Grief, loss, dysregulated nervous system. Okay. How do these things, when we see it happen that way, people don't always necessarily say it in this way. And granted, yes, now she's got a dysregulated nervous system because she has to find ways to save herself in this, when we start thinking about kind of some of the bigger discussions around how just your nervous system isn't going to get dysregulated, but can you talk a little bit maybe more about how it impacts others today too? Like just like the greater community component of the nervous system reset and shift?
Yeah, I mean, we're all a ball of energy and like we all, are equally responsible for what we bring in to this shared environment. And so it is really important to understand what happened to you from the past to the present and even future, because again, it can show up and then the relationships inevitably we're human, unless you're living remote in a mountaintop and never interacting with a human being, like do your thing, fine. But for the rest of us who are having to operate and live with each other and like work together, be in relationship, be in community, strangers on the street, like, in traffic, it is so important for us to take care of ourselves in order to then take care of each other, because every stranger is someone's loved one. And so even if it's a stranger on the street, like having a regulated like nervous system and not, treating each other from this like triggered place. And right now I just noticed like there's a lot of activation with everyone's nervous system for the most part. And I see it in traffic, like people are tense. I see it, people walking on the sidewalk. Like, everyone is in some level of distress, and it's compounded. So it's not only that I'm like, my nervous system is flooded right now from like whatever current stressor I'm facing and like experiencing or hearing about. It's everything that's happened before that I may have not processed. It's everything that I'm worried about in the future. Maybe I'm worried about my job. Maybe I'm worried about raising kids. Maybe I'm worried about a parent who's aging and they're ill. Maybe I'm waiting for news about my medical report. There's just so much. And then it's easy to take it out on each other. And the best gift you can give yourself and the people around you, especially the ones who are in your circle and love you and you love them, is to take care of your nervous system so that we can try to thrive and support each other in thriving. And we don't always have to live in this survival brain, which is what the nervous system, if it's always activated in that state of like fight or flight, and we're like just surviving. And like we're at a place now in society where we deserve to be thriving.
We did talk to you before and life has happened, career has happened. And so can you tell us a little bit more about your career as a therapist in the last couple of years and how that's changed, but also tell us who you are and what in terms of culturally, as a human, personally, professionally, and sort of how you steered your ship into this specialty.
But for those who don't know me, I'm Eidit Choochage. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've had the pleasure and honor to know Lauren and Lynnea for a long time, and just very grateful to be here today. And the last couple years, I've continued my like private practice. I work with clients part-time, but a shift that's happened that takes up a majority of my time is I'm a director of a school program where I supervise a team of therapists in the Bay Area. We work for a nonprofit that I've been at for a long time. And I oversee the therapy programs at the 5 different public schools that we're at. And they provide individual and family therapy to families that are on Medi-Cal. And so our services are free. We contract with the school district. So it's something I'm very passionate about and excited that we're able to offer that to the communities that we live in, and provide access to therapy to them for free. And yeah, then part-time I do my private practice, and I've had clients for some time that I dearly care about, and we'll see what the future holds, but that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, and I love it.
What about the journey? Because I think in our world, we talk about this thing called a niche. We talk about this thing we can get there because we intentionally sort of like take courses and classes, and sometimes, through clients that we see or life experiences. How did you choose nervous system work?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I love like how our brain and body connect. I've always just been like fascinated with like how that operates. And then, from there, like our, reactions, behavior, like I'm always fascinated about like human behavior. That's why I got into the field in the first place. Like, why do we do what we do? And so just learning more about that is always interesting to me. And I think with the nervous system, like, it's just something that for my own life, like I notice for myself, like what activates me, what are my triggers, what has happened to me, what am I anxious about, and how does my brain and body connect? Like, and then how am I experiencing my life from that point of view? And the more I've gotten to know that relationship, the more I feel like I am confident and able to know what I need. And then I can put boundaries out from that place. I can, like we talk about boundaries, we talk about all these other things. And I think when you know where you're at with your nervous system and soothing it and taking care of it and understanding yourself, and in different stages of your life may have a different response. And so the more information someone has, I get excited to talk to them about it, because it's very empowering once you know, because then it's like, then you can make decisions from that place. You need to cancel plans that weekend because you're so activated. And to your point earlier, Lauren, like, are you responsible with your energy? And you're going to be not in a, good place because your nervous system is flooded and you're activated and you're, it's going to be hard to be around people. Like, do you want everyone else exposed to that energy? Maybe not. And it's okay to cancel plans from that place and take care of yourself. And you deserve that. And if people love you, they're going to want that for you too. And so naturally, as you take care of yourself, people drop off, people come in, and I think that's really empowering work, which is why I love like kind of going towards that niche with like the nervous system regulation.
Okay, I'm coming in hot, and then I'll let Lauren ask the last question.
You literally just blurted out boundaries.
I did, because Eidit is a super smart boundaries. Like, she should teach a master class because she doesn't take care of her. She's trying to take care of her nervous system, is what I'm hearing, which is kind of this question, Abu's signature question, nervous system edition, which is, when your nervous system is in need of care, what practices do you practice? Like, how do you, as a therapist, as someone who's, doing the work with others, what does it look like for you to do that work for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. I will say, like, one thing that's been profound is, and I have to keep working on this, is like releasing the guilt and the shame of like saying no. Having committed to something and then, or like slowing down my yes, or if I did commit to something, like, it's okay to say no. And I struggle with that a lot, but I know if I'm not in a good place, like, no one deserves that version of me. And I don't feel good with that version of me. So I think like the most impactful one for me is like setting boundaries, or like saying no when maybe I originally said yes, and then going and taking care of myself. And that can look like very different. Like, sometimes I'm a hermit at home and I need to just like be indoors and not see nobody until I can like self-soothe and get back into whatever life is. Sometimes it's moving my body. Oftentimes it's moving my body. Even if I'm home, I'm gonna go for a walk, because now I know, and what we know from research and science, like, moving your body, even just like a 10-minute walk, is regulating to your nervous system. Like, that's what EMDR, like the founder of that work, the bilateral stimulation, is she was going on a walk and like helped reprocess some of what she was going through, and calms your nervous system down. Like, it just like energy releases. So for me, going on walks, setting boundaries have been game changers. Listening to what my body needs, being responsible with my energy as best as I can. And sometimes you can say no, and you do show up. And in those moments, like, giving yourself permission, like, maybe it's okay to not just be like if you're always used to being like the social one, and the like, sometimes which I am usually that person, but I know if I'm like, I have a lot going on internally, like, it's okay to take a step back. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad friend. Maybe I'm a little more quiet. Maybe I need to make sure I hydrate. I've set boundaries around like what I will consume. And if everyone else is, for example, like Drinking alcohol. Right now my 2026 year goal is like, I'm not even going to have a lick or sip of alcohol. So I've been saying no.
I'm gonna be looking at your Instagram page and make
I
sure.
know. Oh no, you'll hold me accountable because every time I'm like, I'm
I
not.
I think that setting a goal and doing your best is really amazing. And I think that even knowing that this is a year you don't want to do something is like that also that's part of regulation as well as like, I don't want to do this anymore, right? For whatever reason, no explanation needed. I don't want to. And it's not, or even the explanation, it's not good for me. Whatever's good for you is fine. It's not good for me, right? And that sense of ownership about it is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. And who gets to know that? Because I think one thing with boundaries, I think I have a little issue with sometimes when it doesn't have this disclaimer of like, nobody needs to know nothing and like, it's just like done. But the people who matter do deserve that, like, like the relation, like keeping that relationship, sharing enough with the people that need to know why. And those who don't like, don't waste your energy. But like your partner, maybe a close friend, like, hey, I'm not coming today. Like, I'm just going through some things. I love you. We'll talk soon. I'm needing some time to myself right now. Like, period. That's enough. But like ghosting people, I hear that from clients too. Like they get ghosted and that's hurtful because yeah, your nervous system is also wired for connection. And we know like community and connection and safe people help your nervous system. You just have to get to know when and where and what works for you.
Earlier, you mentioned some things about like bilateral tapping and EMDR. Again, some of our people who are listening in are not licensed like we are. Can you please maybe elaborate a little bit more on that so that they can maybe have some concrete tools to take with them for like actual steps that they may be able to utilize? I know what bilateral tapping is, but I'm imagining that someone like my dad wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. So EMDR, eye movement desensitization
It doesn't
reprocessing
have
is
to be EMDR. It could be any modality that you prefer to like teach that a good like 2 tips or something like that for our listeners.
yeah. It's basically anything that can with like even the walking or a type of therapy that like is like tapping, like you could do like a butterfly tap, for example, just a soothing technique where your body, like, and pairing it with breath is just like you're getting a little bit of love. Like, it's okay. You're not fighting a bear right now. Or I hear you, I see you, you're scared of that bear, or like whatever's happening in around you. Like, I got you. Just take a breath. It's gonna be okay. Even if it's not okay right now in the moment, maybe you need a good cry. It's just like a soothing technique that like is based on science and research, and we don't have to get into all of that, but it is helping your nervous system like regulate and calm it down because you're dysregulated and your body's worried and is trying to have a response, and we're meaning making people. Our brain is constantly trying to make meaning of the situation that you're in, and it's going to have a reaction from that place and a feeling. And so the more you can kind of soothe it or comfort it, give yourself a moment to like take a breath, incorporate, you can look into EMDR. I'm actually, I'm really excited about it. And it's really good for trauma, and anyone who has experienced like trauma, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression. Like EMDR is like a really good one to talk to your therapist about, to incorporate that, or seeing someone who's trained or certified in that. But at home, I mean, this is available to you. Put a little butterfly tap on your chest, take a deep breath, unwind. You could create like practices around that, maybe in the morning, 30 seconds. Do a few little butterfly taps. Tell yourself you're going to have a good day. You got this. You're okay. A little pep talk can go a long way in those moments where you're just like overwhelmed.
One of the things that keeps kind of coming to my mind about some of the nervous system dysregulation that we were talking about earlier, some of the behaviors associated with it kind of remind me a lot of like toddler tantrums. right? That like toddlers really don't know how to regulate their nervous systems yet. And that even the gentle tapping, like we just discussed, is such a gentle experience to have when you do see a toddler with a tantrum, right? That like giving them that like gentle, like soothing kind of like embrace and hug and saying, it's okay. It's okay. I know that the coffee or the milk just spilled. And there's times when the coffee and the milk will spill and the toddler will laugh hysterically because they will find joy in the ridiculousness of it being on the ground versus the tears of the loss of the drink that's now liquid all over the place. And I think that there's something about both of those things that can show kind of where your nervous system is in the moment as well. I, just was wanting to add that to my thoughts for this discussion too.
Totally. I
Yeah.
think that's a good marker. Yeah. Like a lot of times I'll tell clients when they are able to do like reframe without me or like see, not that you're having to find the silver lining, but that nuanced difference of like you're able to like feel the feels, but then see it in either an objective way or using your wise adult mind or like see the positives in something. That's an indication, just like, some other symptoms are indication of your mental health being in need of support. But if you can have those moments that almost the opposite, that could be something to celebrate and show that you're doing the work or your nervous system's getting healthier and you're getting to a place where your integration of your brain is getting better. And so I think that's a good call out to say there's the other side of it too, is like acknowledging when you've been doing the practices and you are getting better and you're well.
Yeah. That's when you know you're like, okay, I got this. Like I could laugh at something that maybe I would have had a bigger reaction to before.
I mean, even think about that as like a change in perspective, is that like to find the joy in something that would seem as though it is an inconvenience, right? Like, how can you make these things that are having this adverse reaction to your life? What is the shift that you can make to be able to see it differently? And I think that some of the things about nervous system reset can be really helpful. What do you think about rest in terms of this idea of how to be able to reset such a thing?
Yeah, oh, I love that question, Lauren. I think rest looks different for everyone, and I think maybe first when we hear it, we think just like laying on the couch or on your bed and just like, that could be one form for sure. But rest can feel like going on a walk, moving your body, doing some stretching, being in community that feels good and safe. And you laugh. Maybe it's watching a comedy show, going to one. Like that's rest. Like it's anything that gives you that, like, that was good. Like that felt good. Like it doesn't have to be like this, like specific just lay on the couch because that doesn't work for everyone. And for other folks, it's like maybe listening to music and singing along to your favorite song, dancing, going out to salsa. It's eating popcorn at the movie theater by yourself. Like that feels good and that feels restful. For some people, it's making art. There's just like so many different ways you can define rest. And so just giving yourself permission to like explore that, especially now with the internet, you could Google like, give me 10 ideas for rest. And there you go. Like pick one.
And they might even have a link for somewhere for you to go
Yeah.
within the hour in our instant gratification world that you don't even have to wait for your rest. You can go get in one of those sleep deprivation pods, go get an IV drip, like it could be all kinds of different, the hyperbaric chambers.
Exactly.
Like spa. Have you guys tried that? That's on my list of things.
Oh,
I'm imagining it's going to be really restful.
yeah, it's like
That's
scheduling a
amazing.
massage, which I'm like a queen of massages. Like that is rest for me, for my body, for my mind. Going to a sauna, sweating things out is rest for me. Sitting at home with my weighted blanket like I'm going to do tonight and watching Love is Blind. It just came out, a new season, and ordering DoorDash. Like that's rest.
Okay.
Talking about Love is Blind. Some of these new dating, I can't get through it.
It's pretty trashy, but it's, it's my.
I'm like, are they gonna leave this hole that they're
life's
in?
not as bad. Let me see these relationship dramas.
I feel like part of the drama is that they're stuck in a box.
Yes. Yeah, that would give me so much claustrophobia. I'd be like, no, I'm out.
The nervous systems are not doing well on the show.
I mean, it's nice to be in a box. Maybe if you're there you could let yourself out when you're ready. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, stay in the box until you find your love.
Yeah, no, they are not kind. Like anyone on that show, their nervous system is for sure flooded. Like I'd love to be a therapist on that show.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about that after your day? Let's.
Hey, listen, let's put it out there. You never know. Netflix is
Love is
listening.
Blind is looking for a therapist. Eidit Choochage is open.
She's open. She's ready. Just call her. In fact, tell us how can we call you? How can our listeners get in touch with you? Can they beep you 911? Call you on your cell phone? Sorry, I couldn't resist it.
What was that song? Meet me at the mall. It's going down. Anyways, you can there's some more malls.
Okay. All these early 2000s. In case you wanted to know how old we are, y'all. That's it.
I know kids don't even know what the mall is anymore. They're all getting torn down, but you could have met me at the mall back in the day. That's where I would be. Nowadays, I'm on Instagram. It's going down there. It's at Heal with Eidit. So Heal with all one word and then my name. I haven't been active in a while. I have like my own kind of journey right now with social media, but right now that's a good way to reach me and find me. I also have my podcast still out. Again, I haven't recorded a new episode in a while, but it's still up with like over 100 episodes called Therapeutic Life Healing. And it's on all the streaming platforms. And it's all free. Like that is also really important to like just give access for free information around mental health stuff.
Thank you.
Are you accepting any new clients, or if someone wanted to work with you, or is it just kind of checking out and seeing what you're up to in the public facing view?
Yeah, right now, public facing view, I'm not taking any clients. In the future, I may be doing like a retreat or a training or a workshop. We'll see. I've done a retreat in Bali before. I might do another, international just retreat that's all centered around healing and like community, which really is important, especially now, I think, and being in safe community. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'll probably share. It will be like on Instagram, any of those like coming up. Right now, I'm just kind of staying steady, not doing too much, and it feels good.
Yeah. Okay. Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Sounds like you're doing a lot, girl.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren.
So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Hey Boo with Lauren and Lynnea. We are so grateful that you joined us today. If you're interested in receiving any therapy with either of us, I'm going to let Lynnea tell you how to get in touch with her.
Yes. If you're interested in working with MindfullyWell Therapy, we work with anyone virtually in California or in person in Oakland. And we serve couples, individuals, and teens, and speak the languages of Arabic, Spanish, and Assyrian. If you wanted to book your free 15-minute consultation, all you have to do is go to www.mindfullywelltherapy.com and book your consult there, or check us out on Instagram at MindfullyWell Therapy.
And I'm Lauren Turner, licensed clinical social worker and CEO of the Turner Practice. If you would like to book a session with any of our therapists at the Turner Practice, we are receiving clients in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. I love that. She thinks it's hilarious. Please feel free to find us on www.theturnerpractice.com, or you can follow us at The Turner Practice on TikTok and Instagram.
Yep.
And we would love to be able to find a way for you to be able to work with us or any of our members of our team.
Don't you have a specialty?
Oh yeah, I do have a specialty. I specialize in working with athletes and their families in high performance, and we also do some forensic work here too in social justice, and we just love our clients here at the Turner's Practice. We also do couples therapy for those of you who may be in athlete couples, and we can't wait to continue for you all to join us this season, and hope you can follow us and meet with us soon.